So the second half of 2024 was just not exciting me book-wise until I found some books that have piqued my interest in a big way. So if you're ready to find out what they are, get yourself a snack and or a beverage and let's talk about them. Hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. I am back. It's been a minute, I know. I've just had a lot going on, which I will explain more probably in a recent reads video that will be coming soon, because this is, we want to talk about the anticipated books. We ain't got time for the personal chit chat stuff. I mean, I ain't doing too much anyway. But I'm back, and like I said, I wanted to talk about books that I am excited about for the rest of this year. As I said in my intro, there were not many that were exciting me enough to want to film, but then I started combing through, looking for more books, trying to find some more stuff, and I saw things that were just like, this is what I'm talking about. So like I said, without further ado, we just gonna get into it. Now, as always, there are plenty of books that I'm excited about that I am not gonna talk about in this video because they're not like I'm super excited, but they're still on my radar. So I will have my Goodreads shelf linked below where you can check out all my anticipated books that I'm looking forward to for 2024. Even on my Goodreads, you can see what I have already lined up for 2025, but that's not what we're here for. And because I'm a little late with this video, better late than never, I'm still gonna talk about two books that you know I'm excited about. They've already come out by the time this video will come out, but I still wanted to mention them so you know and don't think like, is she not gonna read that book? Is she not excited about it? Yes, I am. They're just already out by now, but I'll still mention them. So first up, of course, got my phone with my notes. We have Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. You already know, came out June 18th. Everybody's already talking about it, good or bad. Of course, if you don't know by now, this is a mystery thriller book. This is Riley Sager's, I don't even know, 7th, 8th. I have read all of his books at this point. I can't believe it. I'm actually listening to Final Girls in my car right now. I originally DNF'd it, but I am almost done with it. By the time you see this, I will be done. So look forward to, after I read Middle of the Night, a new updated ranking video. But this is the one where we're following a main character, and as everyone has been talking about, this is the first time Riley Sager has had a main character be a man. He had a main character who was a man in Home Before Dark, but it was kind of split between two POVs. This one is just all one character who is a man. And this is a story where when the man was 10 years old, he was camping out in his backyard with his friend. They were in a tent. He went to sleep that night. When he woke up, there was a slash in the tent and his friend was missing, never to be seen or heard from again. It made news and all this stuff, and he's been haunted by it since. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this one did not really excite me. Didn't have any of my buzzwords, anything that tickles me. So I was just kind of like, I'll read it because it's Riley Sager and I generally enjoy his writing, but nothing really was getting me. And I will say, I have already started reading a little bit of it and it's not really doing anything for me yet. But stay tuned, anything can change. We'll see. And we have The Family Experiment coming out on July 9th. Now, I have already talked about this in my video that I did with the most anticipated releases for the first half of the year. I will link it here, but I had the UK release date for that one, which was in May. Our US one is in July, so I'm not gonna go too deep because I already talked about it in that video. Plus, I don't like to say too much for these. We keep it short and sweet until I decide if I'm gonna read it, and then I go a little more into it either in my recent reads wrap up or when I talk about my TBR or something. But just in case you don't know, in typical John Mars fashion, this is one that is so interesting. I don't know where he comes up with these ideas, but they are just always so intriguing to me. This is one where we are in a time and place, not our own, where it is becoming increasingly expensive to have families. So for a subscription fee, people are creating virtual children from scratch. And then this also has a reality show element where they want to document some families with these virtual children from their birth until I don't know how long. So interesting, so fascinating. There probably will be multiple POVs. John Mars usually does that too. And it's, like I said, always interesting, usually shorter chapters, usually fast paced. So hopefully this is the same. His last book, The Marriage Act, I was not crazy about. I will link the live show that I participated in, the book club discussion, but I wasn't as crazy about that one. That one was a little bit too heavy on the politics for my liking, dealing with a lot of stuff in 2020. And I just didn't want to read all that. So hopefully this one goes back to the more fun stuff. It will still make you think, but hopefully just not as heavy on the politics as that one was. Let's move on. And now we will get into all the releases I'm looking forward to between July and December. Now, spoiler, I don't have anything for December yet. I hardly ever do. But if you think you have something I may be interested in that's coming out in December, please let me know in the comments below. I am all ears. I am open. This next one is probably the first one on this list that is not by an author I already have read from you know, because I already talked about John Marr's book, but this is the first one that I am like super excited about. It sounds like such an interesting concept. The only thing is that I cannot find a link to get it for the US. It says it's not available in our country yet, but yet we have a release date of July 18th. So I'm not sure. I will link to the GOODREADS page for it, but we can keep an eye out for it because I will be keeping an eye out for this book. But it is called The Silent Killer by Trevor Wood. This is a thriller suspense, and it is book 1 in the DCI Jack Parker series that will be starting. Now, in this book, we are following a detective chief inspector who is tracking down a serial killer. But what makes this book so interesting is that he is dealing with early onset dementia and he's trying to hide it. So it's like he has to track down a serial killer while dealing with his own stuff and, you know, his memory fading. All the things. I've never heard of a book like this. If you have, let me know, but I'm intrigued. This is like top of the list, like I said, after The Family Experiment. Let's move on. Next up, this one comes out on July 23rd, and I love this cover. This is probably one of my favorite covers of all of the books on this list, but this one is The Best Lies by David Ellis, and this is a mystery thriller crime novel. It's the first one in this list that's a little grimy. If you don't know, I've talked about that. I now love some drug dealings, some mafia-ness, some prison, those kind of things sprinkled in my book. It's been one of the new fun things that I think I enjoy. So this one definitely ticks those boxes. In this one, we are following an attorney who has some skeletons in his closet. And one day, a ruthless drug dealer is found dead and the attorney's fingerprints are on the weapon. Sounds like a bit much. So I guess when the FBI come to investigate, they ask him to go undercover to deal with this drug dealer's syndicate. And then he also has his own secrets, the stuff that's in the skeletons in the closet business. Like I said, sounds like a wild ride. I'm here for it. Sign me up. Let's move on. Moving into the month of August. First up, we have book 3 in the Inspector Angelica Henley series. I have read the other 2 books, of course, and this is The Kill List by Nadine Matheson. I have enjoyed all the books. None of them have been like 4 or 5 stars, but they've all been 3, 3.5, which is solid. I always enjoy the audiobooks paired with them, so I'm looking forward to this one. And you know, there's not much to say because each book has something different going on, and it's basically we're following Inspector Angelica Henley as she investigates different serial killers. So I'm not even too sure what's the deal with the serial killer in this book. I want to go in blind because I just trust the author and I'm gonna get into it. But book 1 was a serial killer who was the Jigsaw Man, and I think it was something to do with body parts, and then he was also coming after her or something like that. The second one dealt with a religious situation that I enjoyed. It was a religious type of killings, so that was interesting. So like I said, I have no idea what we're getting with this one, but we got a kill list. Next. Okay, we have quite a few on August 6th. So also on August 6th, we have A Mask of Flies by Matthew Lyons. This is a horror mystery crime novel, and it says it is basically It Follows mixed with The Outsider with a pinch of Evil Dead. Very interesting. I have not seen It Follows. Doesn't interest me. I enjoyed The Outsider, the series. I have not read the book, and I love Evil Dead. So interesting. I'm not sure where we're going with this. Okay, clouds just came and I lost all my lighting. So we're just gonna have to keep it moving. I guess we just got comfy cozy real quick. But anyway, in this book, we are following a criminal who has taken a cop hostage, and she's trying to find her way to safety while they're supposed to be being chased by, it says, pursued by threats both human and supernatural after a failed bank robbery. So this also sounds like fantasy, but it just says horror, mystery, crime. So interesting. It's on my radar. Again, the crime aspect. So we'll see. Okay, so I hinted about this earlier where I said I had a couple authors on this list that I will be giving a second chance to, or they've intrigued me with a book that makes me want to give them a second chance. This is the second author, Will Dean, and I'm speaking of The Chamber, which is also, like I said, due out August 6th. I must say, he always has the best book covers. I love the cover of this book. For some reason, all these blue covers are just getting my goose. He also wrote the last one, which was one of my most anticipated books of last year. I talked about it so much in 2023, but unfortunately, it did not do it for me. I ended up DNFing it. A lot of people enjoyed it. You can check out my video where I talked about it. I will try to link it here or link to my Goodreads review, but it just didn't do it for me. Oh, the sun is back. Of course. So now let me turn my light down. Now it's gonna be too bright. It says this one is And Then There Were None meets The Last Breath. I have no idea what The Last Breath is. If you know, let me know below if you liked it or anything, because I have never heard of it. I didn't even look it up when I read the synopsis. I was just kind of like, Okay, sure. Of course I'm familiar with And Then There Were None. Who's not at this point? But this one is a locked room thriller. But wait. It takes place inside a hyperbaric chamber. If I wasn't mic'd and connected to the camera, I would get up and walk away. Just come, what? I've never heard of it. It's so exciting. Ah! It also says one person is found dead in their bunk and they have 4 days of decompression before the locked hatch to the chamber can be opened. Talk about locked room, literally. This is what I'm talking about. I need stuff like this. Now, whether the writing will get me or not, the premise alone just excites me. I am at a point now, I've only been doing this for about almost 4 years of reading mystery thrillers where I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, this is the same old thing. It's the same old thing. Can I get something new? So when I get something like this, that sounds so interesting and new, I just get so excited. So this one is like top of the list. Cannot wait. Stay tuned. This is another one that I just found that excited me so much. I mean, when I say just found, like Friday. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. This one comes out August 13th. It is the first sci-fi on this list. I think some of these books, yes, have some sci-fi elements, but this is the first full sci-fi book. It is Murder on the Interstellar Express by Gregory D. Little. Just listen to the title. This is the first book in a new series called the Belle Begrudgingly Solves It series, and it also says this is for fans of Murderbot. Now, I'm not a fan of Murderbot. I've tried to read it several times. I tried to read it physically. I tried listening to the audiobook. I tried doing both. It just didn't do it for me. But for those of you who like it, this is supposed to be for you. But also we know it has some comedy in it, so I do love some comedy in my sci-fi. I do. Now, in this book, we are following a character named Belle Beauregard, who all we know starting off is that she does something bad that gets her sent off to a half-built colony ship. And I guess as part of her sentence, she has to work on this ship. But before she begins work, one of the fellow prisoners is murdered. And guess what? Of course, she's the prime suspect. So naturally, she has to go and try to solve the mystery of the murder. This always gets me. I always love when a main character is a suspect in a murder and they have to try to solve it. So we're along with them for the ride. Also, I've said this recently, prison, interstellar, a space type prison. Once again, I would get up and walk away, throw down the phone, drop the mic. Like I said, so excited. August 13th. Let's move on. Last up in the month of August, we have Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara. This is a mystery thriller and I am so intrigued by this cover. I love the propped door open where it's dark inside. You don't know what's behind that door. Who's coming out? What are we going in? I love it. Apparently I have a note that I have her book The Sleeper Lies on my GOODREADS TBR. It doesn't sound familiar, but I have it on there. So clearly this author intrigues me all the time. Now, I didn't want to go too deep into this, so I'm just going to read you the little blurb that it said about this book. It says it is a chilling novel about a family who thinks there's someone hiding in their attic. Pretty simple. That's enough for me. Because who doesn't think it's creepy to have somebody in your attic or your basement? So that's enough. We'll see. It's funny, once again, that this says mystery thriller. Sounds horrific and horror-y to me, but it's just mystery thriller. Let's move on to the next one. Kicking off the month of September, fall cozy season. We have the first horror novella on this list. I think it's the only horror novella, but the first novella on this list. I don't know. I may have another novella. Don't quote me. This is Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinsker. She also wrote We Are Satellites, which I heard a lot of good things about. I think I may have tried to check it out and it didn't really intrigue me, but this one does. Also, it's a novella, so short and sweet. This one is very interesting. We follow a main character who gets a job working the night shift on her cousin's ghost hunting reality show. I'm always intrigued by the ghost hunting show premise because I used to watch ghost hunting shows, so it interests me. Oh, pardon me, it's a ghost hunting home makeover show. What? Okay. Anyway, while she's working behind the scenes, of course, spooky, unexplained things start to happen that make her confront her past. I'm not gonna lie, the confronting her past part is what makes me not as interested in this book, because usually when people start digging in their past, it gets a little boring for me. I like to stay in the present and what's going on, but you never know. There have been books that I love that have done that, so we'll see. Next up on September 10th, clearly when we get to fall, We're getting close to spooky season, so we get more horror books. And this one, I mean, I love this cover. This one is William by Mason Coyle. Look at this cover. It is so spooky and creepy, and I love the colors. I just love red and black together, so, oh, delicious. This is a horror, sci-fi thriller, and a debut novel. So I love when you mix sci-fi with horror or thriller. Love it. This is another one I am super excited about. Again, one of these ones that popped up that I was like, what is this? I am so here for it. Okay, this one I have to read because we get some complicated words and I don't have time to be trying to memorize this, so let me just read it. It says, we follow an agoraphobic robotics engineer who creates an AI named William, or he names him William. But something's not right with William. And soon the AI becomes fixated on the main character's pregnant wife. Oh no, not the baby. And it says, it shifts seamlessly from psychological thriller and cyber noir to haunted house horror and locked box mystery. Check, 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 and check. All the boxes. Oh, I can't wait. I hope it's good. Some of these already have great Goodreads reviews, which also makes it more promising. But at the same time, as you all know, I do tend to go against the grain. But this one, I am excited. Okay, next up on September 17th, this is another one I just found out about like Friday. We have a book that I'm so excited about. This is Heroic Measures by Joel Shukin. And the cover says it is a forensic techno thriller. Some of these are just, I'm so excited. Once again, it's the kind of stuff I need for mystery thrillers now. I just can't, like the basic, I've already talked about this. We're not even gonna get into it, but the domestic thrillers and stuff are just boring me lately. So this is what I need. This is another one that will be a new series. This is book 1 in the Death Benefit series. Now for this one, I also want to read a quick blurb that they had about the book because I love what it says. It says, the medical examiner's job is to speak for the dead and protect the living. But what happens when the dead speak for themselves? Ooh, that already right there, but let me get a little bit more. In this one, we are following a main character named Stephen Englehart, who is a medical examiner for the armed forces, and he is supposed to be one of the best. And one day, a Marine's body is sent to him to examine, and he's told that this Marine's body was burned beyond recognition. But when he opens the body bag or uncovers it, there's not a scratch on the body. So he's like, is this the right body? What's going on? And then, hold on. In the middle of the autopsy, the Marine wakes up. Another one. Ah! Okay. Calm down, Kia, calm down. I'm so excited. This one I remember has good reviews so far, so I am so excited. Once again, we got some military grit mixed with this mystery, techno, sci-fi business. I'm so here for it. Oh! I feel like all the books in the month of September are just so exciting for me. So already it's gonna be fall, my favorite time of the year. And then I have so many of these books that I'm excited about. Just, like I said, calm down. No! This next one is one that was already on my radar for a while, but I'm so excited to finally talk about it because again, it's coming out towards the end of September. And this is The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Robel. Hey, that rhymes. And I love this cover. I love these colors together, and of course the bathtub. If you don't know, Psycho is one of my favorite movies. I did a video about all my favorite horror movies. I will link it here in case you want to check it out. But yes, love Psycho, so this intrigues me. In this one, we are following a character who is the founder, owner, and manager of the Hitchcock Hotel. And to celebrate the hotel's first anniversary, he decides to invite some close friends to come and stay to celebrate. And it says, no Hitchcock set is complete without a body. A murder mystery. I love that we're going to be getting all these things that have to do with Alfred Hitchcock. I love quite a few Hitchcock movies, so not just Psycho, but that one is like top tier for me. But anyway, it's going to be so good because of all the hints to the Alfred Hitchcock and the hotel scenery, the bodies dropping. I'm not even sure if it's more than one, but we'll take one. Let's move on. Lastly, in the month of September, also on September 24th, this is another one that I just found out about this week, and I'm super excited. This sounds so different. Another sci-fi book. The premise, so interesting. And the title is rather long. This one is I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom by Jason Pargin. Like I said, look at the cover, the title, just so intriguing. I saw this and I was like, what's that? These colors don't usually get my attention, but I don't know. The title, I was like, I gotta take a look and see what this is. And I'm glad I did, because this is another one that I'm super excited about. I'm just gonna read to you what it says because I feel like they said it best. In this book, we are outside Los Angeles when a driver pulls up to find a young woman sitting on a large black box. She offers him $200,000 cash to transport her and that box across the country to Washington, D.C. So funny because I'm from Maryland and I live in California, Southern California. So interesting, huh? But she says there are rules. He cannot look inside the box. We're not going to count because we go past 5. He cannot look inside the box. He cannot ask questions. He cannot tell anyone. They must leave immediately, and he must leave all trackable devices behind. So interesting. The synopsis also says some stuff about there's some conspiracy theories going around online about what could be in the box. I guess it makes the news some kind of way. Kind of reminds me of The Passengers, but I want us to go in not knowing too much. So let's leave it at that because that is intriguing enough as it is. Now let's move on to the month of October, shall we? My favorite month, you already know. So what better way to kick off the month of October than with a horror novel, of course. And coming out on October 1st, we have Coup de Grace by Sophia Ajram. I hope I'm saying all that right. If I'm not, forgive me. This is another cover I love. I love the gray, black, and red. As I said, I love those colors together. I don't have a lot of red in my home. I used to a long time ago, but I still love those colors together. Now, this is another one that says it's horror, but it sounds like horror sci-fi. The little blurb about the book says this is about a young man trapped in an infinite Montreal subway station. That's the part that sounds like sci-fi to me. And it also says as he starts to explore, he starts to think he wasn't put there accidentally and that he's not alone. There's the horror part. Are we getting ghosts, aliens, what? I'm intrigued. Not top of the list intrigued, but I'm intrigued. Okay, so I was right. I do have another horror novella on this list, and this one comes out middle of October. So coming out on October 15th, we have Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. Now, Nat Cassidy also wrote Nestlings, which was also one of my most anticipated books of 2023. It's funny, I just opened it up and read a little bit of it, and I was like, this is not my kind of writing, and I didn't go any further. So I believe I heard good things about it. It just, the writing didn't grab me, but hopefully this one does. We'll see. This is another one that I want to read directly from because they said it best. This is the story about a young musician who finds himself locked inside a gas station bathroom in the middle of the night by an unseen assailant. He's then caught between the horrors on the other side of the door and the horrors rapidly skittering down the walls inside. Skittering? What are we talking about? Roaches, spiders, what? Either way, I don't want nothing skittering. I don't like that, but sounds good for a horror book. And last but not least, in the month of October, this is a cozy one. We'll still be in fall, so maybe I'll push this one to November because it's more for November. But we have The Firelight Apprentice by Bree Paulson. In case you don't know, Bree Paulson wrote the middle grade graphic novel series Garlic and the Vampire. There were only 2 books, but there was Garlic and the Vampire, which was one of my best books of 2023, and then also Garlic and the Witch. I enjoyed that one too, but it wasn't up there like Garlic and the Vampire. But this one is another middle grade graphic novel series. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a series, but I just love her illustrations. She also does illustrations. So again, middle grade fantasy graphic novel. I will also read straight from here because complicated things. In this book, we're in a city powered by magic that's recovering from a bloody war. When a traveling group of magicians comes to the city to perform, they recognize the main character's talents, but they may be monsters hiding behind friendly faces. So this sounds very different from Garlic and the Vampire and Garlic and the Witch, but because it's Bree Paulson, and as I said, I love those other 2 books and I love her illustrations, we're going to be checking it out. So like I said, probably in November because it sounds cozy. Now, speaking of November, let's move on to the month of November. Okay, so coming out on November 12th, 2024, of course, we have a mystery thriller suspense and a debut novel. This one is Safe Cracker by Jessie DeRoy. I also love this cover. Again, same color scheme, you already know. So this is another one that has some grit that I'm looking for in my thrillers nowadays. In this one, we are following a main character named Duke who was born and raised a thief. So we already got the crime, the grit, check. But he also has a bookie who wants to break his thumbs, and then some crooked cops, some feds who want him to break into this supposedly unbreakable safe. So crooked cops, bookies, all the grit that I'm looking for. And it says that he takes the job for the feds and he discovers that some things are best left unopened. So sounds so interesting. Like it's gonna be fast paced and keep my interest is what I need these days because I have been in a major slump lately. But like I said, I will talk about that in my next video. So that wraps up all of the books I'm looking forward to in 2024. So let's actually wrap this up, shall we? All right, so like I said, I am so excited about so many books on this list. I mean, I was looking before and I was kind of like, all right, I'll add this to my Goodreads. Sure, I'll check this out. And then again, so many of these popped up for me that I was like, now we're talking. This is why I love reading. Because like I said, things I had on my list for this year so far that I've tried just has not been going well. So anyway, I can't wait, and hopefully these revive me and give me some more life for the end of this year, because even at this point I have like 2 books that I've enjoyed so far this year, and that's not good, not counting children's books and middle grade and graphic novels and that kind of stuff. But anyway, let me know in the comments if there are any of these books that you didn't know about that you now want to check out like me, or let me know one of your most anticipated books for the second half of 2024. And of course, if you don't have a comment and or you just want to show me some love, you can leave me a, oh Lord, I don't have one planned. Let me just look up here at my book covers and see what grabs my eye. Bathtub emoji for the Hitchcock Hotel book, or something to do with taking a bath or shower. You got to keep it clean. They don't have anything naughty, but yes, bathtub, something to do with a shower emoji. And also I think it's appropriate for cooler weather. Sure. As always, all the books I talked about will be linked below. As I said, also the link to my Goodreads shelf, so you can check out all my 2024 anticipated releases. You can even peek at 2025 if you want to. Go ahead. And ways you can support my channel will also be linked below, as well as my Amazon wish list is also linked below too. That is it, I believe, for this video. So until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good book like some of the ones on this list. Unplug as much as possible. Be kind to all kind. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.